I really want to make this final video today, and that's addressing or giving the tools in which I have used to combat depression, those thoughts of suicide, and physiological pain and illness, right? There's going to be some overlap. I think it's good to distinguish that there's a little bit of difference between a psychological state of depression or psychologically induced state, which involves a breakup with an idea, or not so much a breakup with an idea, but an idea that you face which shatters and disquiets your typical model of cognitive homeostasis, right? Psychological homeostasis. Breakup with your girlfriend, death of family, loss of job, existential crisis, right? Examples. Then, of course, there's physiological pain, right? Major injury, major inflammation, things of that nature, right? There's tons of overlap because at the core, you're going to be feeling void, empty, and in pain, right? Maybe there's some differences to deal with them. I don't even know. I'll get down those or explain when I get down the rabbit holes, right? Ultimately, whether this, and then there's a lot of overlap, right? You don't get the physiological pain without having subsequent psychological pain. You don't get psychological pain without potentially having it manifest somewhere physiologically, right? When it comes to I just picked my nose on camera. I'm such a demon. It fucking itches, man. The psychological pain you'll usually manifest somewhere is like chest tightness, maybe a panic attack, things of that nature. Went through all that myself personally. Okay, getting to, I guess, the meat and potatoes. How do we deal with these seemingly inescapable bouts of pain? The first, I guess, tenet and tool that I'm going to propose, right? Odds are whatever you're going through is temporal. Whether or not the pain of breakup, existential crises, or the physiological pain that you're in from sickness, odds are there's a way out of it, right? There is going to be a brighter tomorrow. And potentially, now this is one with physiological, you may not even recover to the same degree as you were. But the state in which you're in, odds are, isn't long term, especially for the psychological. And these are more going to fade with time, right? So the first story I want you to tell yourself is that this isn't going to last forever. There's a brighter tomorrow to the dark night. God, that sound Batman, fucking Jesus Christ, cliche. I know, I'm cookie cutter, but that's the first thing. That's going to give you the bit of hope, and that's a hard thing to hold on to. During my deep bouts of depression outside here, usually at night, I'd look at a lamppost, and this sounds very Great Gatsby-esque, right? Where he looked at the light across the lake, reminding him of the woman. I don't even remember her name. But I would look at that post, right? And for whatever reason, whether or not how dead I was feeling, it would just ignite the faintest bit of hope. And that's something that you got to kindle, right? You got to let that fire grow. And that's basically, I guess, a metaphor how to use the tools on which I'm going to suggest is that you find that little bit of flame, right? You start it and you give ample time to let it grow. But I would look at that light post, and it was just the dimmest thing in the midst of, pitch blackness, right? But that's so symbolic of my hope, and it sounds cheesy, I know. But I would just imagine that thing growing into the sun by morning, right? And how my pains would wash away. That might be a poor example, but find something that you can hold on to and understand that odds are it's going to get better. I can't even say for certain that it will. Odds are it will, right? And give it all of your attention and power to let it grow. Second thing is being comfortable with the pain. Ultimately, there really is no such thing as being comfortable with the pain. But understand that whether or not it's psychological or physical, that wound won't just go away entirely, right? And any hyper-controlling attempts to solve the pain, whether through drugs, because drugs will affect both aspects of physiological and psychological pain. They're procrastinatory, is that a word? They procrastinate, right? they don't deal with the pain in its fullest. Okay. I had this realization earlier this year. You could call it girl trouble, right? I began questioning my self-worth again with conflict that arose between a member of the opposite sex, right? I began feeling like I wasn't being fully responsible and living up to what I should be in life, right? And this psychological pain hit me, and I had to carry that shit. The biggest thing that I remember going out and meditating about this problem and realizing is that a psychological wound is just like a real wound in that it has to bleed, it has to form pus, and it's got to leak, right? Instead of trying to just push it away, let it be there, right? That pain is going to stir up tons of fucking problems, but it's got to be there. There's no complete absolution of the pain now. It's a slow ebbing away, right? And there's things that we can do through that ebbing away of pain to reconstruct ourselves to be improved when that pain is fully dissolved. One is understanding, of course, why that pain is there. And I guess this is more based towards psychological pain. Let me put it there, right? Disruption of your ego, of yourself, and growing who you are. But in that pain and in that moment of deep pain, fucking, I lost track right there. Again, it's gonna have to be there, right? And you have to acknowledge how it got there and what you can do differently for the future to not, to not. I don't want to say get yourself in that pain, because these pains are good signs and indicators and orienters to where you need to go, right? But take the lesson from that set of pain and understand the mistakes you made and grow from it. There's always going to be these pains, right? Always these fluctuating, undulating periods of light and darkness, of homeostasis and disruption. And during that period of disruption is, of course, is the time to grow, right? And you really just have to take the time to seek what is it that you're discontent with yourself about, right? Now, when it comes to the physiological pain, this isn't so much something that you're in discontent with about yourself, but you have to understand that odds are, again, it's going to ebb away, right? And in being in comfort with that pain, you're going to have to realize there's things that you lose, right? You're going to lose your sex drive. You're going to lose your vitality. You're going to lose your ability to maybe be hyper involved in physical things that you enjoyed. You're going to lose maybe some of your cognition. The ultimate thing to take away here is to be comfortable with the loss and have that hope that you're going to regain it as that pain ebbs away. I've been through that extensively. I think in my video where I describe suicide, I describe the sort of GI problems that I've been through that crippled me, just fucking utterly crippled me, right? And just to be able to sit here and talk on this camera and talk with the lucidity that I have, to whatever degree that is, I can't put into words how grateful I am for that, right? Like, if I died today knowing that I had made these, I would die so happy, because there was a point where I thought I would never be able to do this again. That is such a tangible experience for me, and I cannot emphasize enough how grateful I am for every part of my language fucking day I have, right? So yeah, let's understand there's going to be that period of loss. You're not going to be your full self. Don't hold yourself up to those standards. Accept where you're at. Understand the pain will ebb away. Hopefully you'll grow stronger from it. Those are the more psychological rationalizations and kind of have their basis in Zen and Buddhist meditation, maybe Eastern meditation philosophies. I don't call them Zen or Buddhist meditation philosophies. Fucking it. Let's not apply any connotational meaning with a different sort of a brand, right? Meditation is meditation. Being mindful is being mindful. And you need to learn, of course, to detach from the moment, be mindful that it's temporal, it's going to ebb away, grow from it. And you may not be the full capacity which you are in the moment, which may, hopefully all those things help apply an ointment to an ever hyperactive mind that's afraid of loss and afraid of the eternal, that what that pain brings, right? Okay, some more things, I guess, right? Some big things to help. This is more lifestyle changes, right? One, do away with drugs if you can. I understand the pull to drugs so immensely. I can't explain to you enough. They're your tickets, and they're the cheat codes to feeling. And if you've discussed before my philosophy on feeling, it's the core experience of life. They're the cheat codes to get right there, right? I'd say avoid them. Again, they procrastinate, and they just further expand upon the pain that's there. This one's been preached about many times before, but it's exercise, right? I've had some of the most satisfactory feelings from an hour's run or a 2-hour bike ride. Just the most zen perfect feeling I've ever had from doing these things. And that carries day to day, right? Your vitality goes up. And it's so hard to explain in concept what it's like to have a grueling physical exercise. A lot of people go after the things of exercise for aesthetics and whatnot, and admittedly I have, but I could care less about how I look nowadays. It's how do I feel? How does this run or this thing of squats, how do I feel? It's going to make me feel vital. It's going to give me the energy to make these videos, to go out and enjoy life, right? It's going to increase my sex drive. It is such a it's putting so many amps and volts and watts through the wire, and it insulates the wire for the future, right? Wire being, of course, metaphor for a conduit of feeling, of experience. I can't emphasize enough physical exercise, and again, it's one of the things you just have to do, and then once you appreciate the feeling, you're stuck with it for life. It becomes, I need to do this for some conceptual idea of what my health is and all the right reasons why I should do it, right? Those will never carry you. When you get into it and you actually feel the high from it, that's what will carry that with you for life. And then the maybe the aesthetics are second to the feeling that you get from doing the thing. Plus, it's really cool to hit goals. When you run your 6-minute mile or squat at X amount of weight, you feel fucking phenomenal. That's another cool perk. Another thing is diet. Many people harp on these things. Again, mindfulness, physical activity, and diet. And I'm going to throw under physical activity cold water exposure, cold air exposure, take ice baths. I am such a fucking practicer of this right now. Took one before I started doing these videos. I actually woke up today not feeling good at all, right? But after going on an hour-long walk in the fucking heat that destroyed me and then taking an ice bath, I felt phenomenal. I can't explain to you the feeling you get from ice baths. Fuck conceptual health benefits. Just jump in cold water and feel that shit. Look into Wim Hof and his method if you really want to get into it. Some cool breathing shit you can get into in regards to all that, right? Ultimately, again, his message, of course, is being happy, strong, and healthy, and you expose yourself to these fucking elements to do so, and I agree with that, right? Lastly is diet. Again, I mentioned this before in my diet video. I don't care what the fuck you eat. One, make sure you're getting high fiber and that you avoid processed foods. That's the ultimate. That's the thing to take home, right? I think a supplement to that would be high doses of fish oil. Seemingly have benefit. I've tried this for myself. Again, this is one of those things that long term may have potentiated a good bit of happiness. Ultimately, fish oil and fish products have there's very little risk associated with them. Tons of benefit. Risks are maybe metals or additives and shit like mercury that fish might get into. There's ways to get rid of that, and maybe rancid fish oil. But again, if you watch your shit and look at what you get, you can eliminate the risks, which are very minimal at that. Probably fish oil is something to add in, right? Again, I can't express to you how much diet will change your life, right? I don't give a fuck if I live to 40 and I have heart disease, right? That doesn't mean shit to me, right? I feel great with the diet which I've changed to, which is just getting higher fiber, less processed, and I still have my fucking days, right? I have days where I indulge. We're all going to. It's about being accurate 85, 90% of the time, sort of thing, right? But if my GI system goes out of whack just slightly, I feel slightly bloated, slightly inflamed, it affects my mood greatly. And that's where I get a little pissed. Again, I don't care if I get fucking heart disease at 40. If I had a great life, that's what I enjoy. And again, eating that, I won't. But what I say that to as an opposition to the fact that people get into good diets because of a concept of maybe living longer. Well, I don't care about long life. I care about quality of life. And if your quality of life is disrupted, that's where I draw my line. So ultimately, and of course, these things of diet and nutrition, they feed to both. They feed to physiological pain and illness and psychological pain and illness, right? I'm someone who's extremely prone to anxiety. I've had plenty of panic attacks before over potentially minor stuff. And changing my diet is sort of reducing the amount of distortion that goes through the system, right? Allows me to think a little more clearly. Poor diet's like splashing water when you're trying to see to the bottom. All you see is bubbles. These may be poor examples, but I love picking my nose so much. But you get where I'm going, right? So as repetitive as these are, and many times you probably heard them before, be mindful of the scenario. It's probably there's a brighter tomorrow. Grow from what's going on. Accept the losses which you had. You have to accept those losses. Things you can do in your lifestyle: get more physical activity and eat better, right? And understand, I think the biggest thing to take away with all this is it's a process. It takes time. Appreciate maybe the pain that you're in so that you can have a brighter tomorrow. And when that good day comes, you will appreciate it 1,000 times more than if you had that day every day. With that being said, guys, I thank you.